Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Nika and welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back. In today's video, I am going to be doing the second part of the book haul for the month of November. I want to say that I am very grateful to my father for sponsoring this haul actually, and I also have to show you some books that I got from the publishers recently, new book mail, which I am very excited to open. So the first book that I have to show you was sent to me by Rupa Publications. This is a wonder book for girls and boys. This is a retelling of Greek mythological stories by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Now, I really like these kind of stories. They're always very much interesting to read. Moreover, my brother has loved reading the Percy Jackson series, and so after I'm done with this book, I'm definitely going to lend this one to him. This is a collection of 6 different stories, including even the Chimera, which one the one that I've read and loved. However, I'm excited to see Nathaniel Hawthorne's version of the story, so I'll definitely pick this one up soon and I'll inform you how it goes for me. The next book that I have to show you is Suncatcher by Ramesh Gunasekara. This was sent to me by Bloomsbury. Thanks a lot for sending this to me. Now, this is a beautiful hardcover and it follows this boy named, I always tend to forget his name. His name is Cairo, and it follows the political scene in Ceylon, and this is the story of Cairo's coming of age. So this is mostly a Bildungsroman, a coming of age story. And if you loved 99 Nights in Logar by Jamil Jan Koshai, then I'm sure that you will love this one as well, because I actually read 99 Nights in Logar and I found it really interesting, and that is why when I came across the synopsis for this one, it really hooked me on. So looking forward to reading this book. The next 2 books that I have to show you were sent to me by Chronicle Books. The first one that I have to show you is Live Oak with Moss. This is actually a collection of stories that were written by Walt Whitman, but they were never published because they explore his homosexual leanings, you could say. However, this is a collection today which was never before seen, and it is a stunning visual art, because the book contains many, I'm not going to show you because I want this to be a surprise for you all when I make a post, but this contains many different beautiful and bright pictures as well, along with the different poems and then their analysis as well. The last book that was sent to me as a book mail is Lost Transmissions, The Secret History of Science Fiction and Fantasy. Now, this is a collection of different science fiction works. However, it has been distributed in different parts, like we have literature, music, pop culture, graphic novels, comics, etc. And it also contains bits about Jules Verne's lost novel. So moving on to my book fair book haul, the first 2 books that I have to show you are actually poetry collections. The first one that I have is the Collins Book of Best Love Verse. Now, this has been chosen by Charles Osborne. This is a collection of classic poetry, and the reason I got it is, when I was leafing through the pages, the poem that I came across was Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Now, if you have already been following me for some time, you will know that Invictus is one of my favorite poems ever, hands down, and that is why I took it as a sign and I got this book. It also contains some various other amazing poems. I also came across The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Again, another recommendation: if you have not read that poem, you definitely should pick it out soon. The next poetry book that I got is The Dark Between Stars by Atticus. Now, I have read Love Her Wild by Atticus before. However, I did not find it very interesting, but I did not want to confine myself to that one book and just, it would be as if I did not like one collection by the author, and and that's why I didn't read any other books by him. That's why I decided to pick this one up, especially because it was a second-hand bookstore, and so I got this one for just 100, and so I thought I'd just read it and see how it goes for me. So moving on to the classics part, I have got 3 books to show you. All 3 of them are by the same author, and the author is Daphne du Maurier. Now, you might all know her as the very famous author of Rebecca. The first book that I have to show you is The Loving Spirit. This is quite an old edition of the book, and it has been described as belonging to the same vein as Emily Bronte's writing. I have read Wuthering Heights before, and it's one of my favorite novels, and that is why when this was described, as such, I decided to go for it. And the next book that I have by Daphne du Maurier is Jamaica Inn. Now, I admit this was a cover buy for me. However, this one too has been described as the perfect fusion of gothic romance, and a young woman's rite of passage in the vein of Twilight and Wuthering Heights. So that just made it more interesting for me. The last book by this author that I got is this beautiful hardcover edition of Rebecca. I already have a copy of Rebecca, however, I came across this book and I could not just leave it aside, and I just had to get it, especially because I was getting this beautiful hardcover for 100 as well. Now, if you don't know much about this book, it basically follows this woman as she marries this guy, and then they move to this guy's estate called Mandalay. The opening iconic line of this book is, "Last night I dreamt I went to Mandalay again." However, the new husband apparently had a wife before he married her, and the wife of that name is Rebecca, the eponymous Rebecca after whom this novel is named. And Rebecca is sad. However, the memories of her linger past her death, and seldom has literature seen a heroine whose memories have such importance and significance even after her death. I am very excited to read this one. I also have another edition which is just as pretty, but I really like this one as well. So next I have got to show you a few more classics. The first one that I have to show you is Jo's Boys by Louisa May Alcott. Now, I know this as the fourth book in the whole Little Woman series. If you have not read Little Woman yet, you definitely should. It is one of my favorite books ever, and it's a beautiful and just simply beautiful story following these four sisters, and it's amazing to read about them. This is the fourth book. After Little Women, you have Good Wives, and then you have Little Men. This is the fourth, Jo's Boys. So I'm very excited to read this book. The next book that I have is Voltaire's Candide. Now, this is a social satire, and we have this saying that goes as, whatever happens, happens for the best. But Voltaire was seemingly against that, and so in this book we follow this group of friends, and tragedy after tragedy befall them. However, among them there is this eternal optimist, and it's more of a social satire. I have not read many satires before. However, to be honest, they intimidated me, but since this one is quite thin, I'm excited to see how this one goes. Next, I have a Shakespeare's play, and that is Antony and Cleopatra. Now, in my university days, well, I'm still in university, but in my first year, we staged King Lear, and in my second year, we staged Macbeth. It was amazing for us, and we loved every moment of it. And Antony and Cleopatra, coming back to it, I have not read this drama before, and so I'm quite excited to see how this is, because this is one of the more well-known plays by him, and so it's time I pick this one up. Next, we have Lark Rise to Candleford by Flora Thompson. This is actually a trilogy. It follows life in the countryside towards the end of the last century. So I'm imagining that this book will be quite pastoral countryside, read, which will be pretty nice, I hope. The next book that I have to show you is The Gentleman in the Parlor. This is by W. Somerset Maugham. I'm still not sure how to pronounce his name. I have read one short story by him called Rain, or The Rain. I cannot quite recall if it was Rain or The Rain. However, I really enjoyed his writing style, the way he, gives certain importance, or the way he symbolizes certain elements in the nature. It's quite important and quite significant, at least in Rain, which I've read. So this is another book that I'm excited to read about and include in my collection by this author. The next three books that I have to show you are by Indian authors, and all of them are exciting for me. The first book that I have to show you is Train to Pakistan by Khushwant Singh. Now, this is partition era literature, and I admit I have not read much of that, so I am going to read more. And well, two of my cousins have read this book and they really enjoyed it, so I am quite excited to see how this is for me, how this experience will be for me. I'm thinking that I'll maybe have to shed a few tears, but we'll see. Then the next book that I have to show you is actually a book which I have already read. This is An Atlas of Impossible Longing. Now, I read this book this year, I think, towards the first half of this year, and I actually borrowed the book from my professor, and I loved it so much that I knew that I had to have a copy on my hands anyway. And so when I came across this being sold at just 100 in the book fair in a second-hand stall, I decided why not just go for it and buy it. This is a beautiful, poignant tale. I love the writing. It's lyrical and beautiful, and I definitely recommend you all to read it. And the next book that I have to show you is The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. Now, many people are quite intimidated to pick up all these, critically well acclaimed book. However, if you want to read Jhumpa Lahiri, I would recommend you all to pick up The Interpreter of Melodies, which is quite short, and it also got the Pulitzer Prize, I think. And so that might be a great start for you all if you want to start reading Jhumpa Lahiri's book. And then maybe gradually move on to Arundhati Roy, Anuradha Roy, and so on. This is a beautiful book, and I am very excited to read it. Gabriel Garcia Marquez says, I'm not here to give a speech. Now, Garcia Marquez is quite a popular author. I have Love in the Times of Cholera and Of Love and Other Demons in the physical format with me. They're somewhere here. And this is a non-fiction book where he tells us about how he became a writer, and I'm very eager to see how it goes. It's also very short, so if you want to start with this author, perhaps you can start with this one. This is bound to be very, very interesting. Then I also have to show We Are Displaced by Malala Yousafzai. Everybody knows Malala Yousafzai, and this book here, it's a collection of different voices. Different people are telling their stories in this one, and it's bound to be very, very heart-touching, I suppose, because it deals with the issues of immigration, religion, refugees, displacement as a whole. And so this is bound to be a very, very important read. I am excited to see how it goes. Excited both in a good way and a bad way, because I'm not sure if I'll be dry-eyed by the end of it. Lastly, I have to show you Hunger by Roxane Gay. It has been tagged as a memoir of my body. Now, Roxane Gay is one of the most famous authors of her generation, and this one deals with her experiences as an overweight girl, because being overweight means the more overweight you are, it means the lesser you are seen, and dealing with that is quite an issue in itself. The writing is very intimate, the portrayal is very vulnerable, and the author has placed all her cards on the table, so she has left herself bare, she has left herself vulnerable, and I think this one is going to be a very, very emotional and touching read. The next two books that I got are from authors that I'm very excited to read. The first one that I have to show you is Ian McEwan's Enduring Love. Now, in the first part of the haul, I'm sure you have seen me buy On Chesil Beach. I was introduced to Ian McEwan because I watched the movie Atonement. It's a beautiful movie. You should definitely watch it. I'm excited to read this one and On Chesil Beach together at the same time, and I'll see how it goes for me. The next book that I have to show you is Toni Morrison's Paradise. I recently read The Bluest Eye, and I have fallen in love with Toni Morrison's writings. It's very poignant, very, very introspective and reflective, and it always makes you think so much by yourself later on. And I am also going to read Beloved for my next semester. I'm going to read it early, and so I think it will be nice to do some extra reading as well. The next book that I have to show you is The Essex Serpents by Sarah Perry. Now, as far as I know, the sequel perhaps, or the related book, at least if not, at least another book by the same author has come out recently. Now, this is set in 1800s, 1893, towards the end of the 19th century, and this is a very exciting read. Many people have termed it as magical realism. I do not know enough to tell you much about it, and this had been in my TBR for quite some time, and I'm so happy that I finally got it. We have almost reached the end of this video. I have just two more books to show you, so let's get on with it soon. Firstly, I have Margaret Atwood's Cat's Eye. Now, Margaret Atwood is a really popular author. You might have known because she recently got the Booker for her sequel, that is The Testaments. When she first published The Handmaid's Tale, even that one got the Booker, so you can understand how much of a great writer she is, I suppose. Anyway, I also got Alia's Grace by the same author. I have not read that one yet, and this is another book that I got by her because I just knew I needed to. And secondly, I love these editions with these covers because they're just so pretty. I mean, I find them very, very aesthetic and very appealing. The last book in this whole haul that I have to show you is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. Now, this one follows the girl Cora, I think her name was, Cora, as she takes the journey towards the north. She has been a slave in a cotton plantation in the south for quite some time, and her journey is, covered in this book. This has also won the Pulitzer for fiction in 2017, and it has been blurbed by Barack Obama as Terrific, yeah, terrific, dazzling. All the wonderful words you could find in the dictionary have been used to describe this one. This is also perhaps going to be a very, very emotional read for me. I will definitely read this one soon. As far as I know, a latest book by the same author called The Nickel Boys has come out very much recently. I do not know if that's a sequel or just another book in his milieu, but yeah, just something to keep an eye out for. So hey guys, we have reached the end of this video. I tried to keep this one very short and as short as possible, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Stay tuned because I have some amazing videos planned, all lined up. They're coming up very soon. However, the weather has been so bad that my network was bad, and that's why the first haul video took so much time to go up. However, I am very much grateful for all the love you showed, and stay tuned. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and click on the bell icon down below. I'll see you soon. Peace out.